So let's see. Are we going to do another campaign? Love you. Oh man, I'm so exhausted from this campaign. I mean, when I say that we have not talked, we do have another project in the works, and it's not a secret. It's a Lovecraftian RPG that Heath and I have been working on for over a year now, and probably about a year and a half. And we've got other people working on it with us, writers and artists. And that will most likely be the next Kickstarter that we run. It's going to be a while. We have a lot of work to do. So we're looking forward to it. You know, once we get all the final files to the manufacturer for Elder Dice, then it's just going to be 100% working on Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. Actually, I just noticed that Bill Barnett joined, and he is one of our writers on Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. So that is our next project. Well, we got a lot of first-time Kickstarter backers, so that's great. I'm happy to hear that.
I shared over to the group, so hopefully.
So we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just double check, see how many minutes we've got left here. We got 21 minutes. Oh, we're at 7:99. So we'll see where this ends up. It has been amazing. We appreciate everybody that has shared the campaign, that supported the campaign by pledging. You know, I've said this 100 times, and I'll say it as many other times as I can. Obviously, what we are doing would not be possible without each and every one of you, and we really appreciate it. You know, it's a good time to be a creator, because when you have ideas and can present it in a way that people appreciate and enjoy, it can be successful. And you know, this has been a great experience, and we appreciate all of you.
We got the final update.
We got the final update.
Yep, we got 20 minutes, so I'm gonna punch it.
I'm gonna silence my phone so you guys don't hear. Man, my phone has been blowing up because of all the messages and comments and emails and everything else we've been going through. So it's been a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. Let's see. So did you punch that?
I punched it. Yep.
Okay. So the final update, at least during the Kickstarter campaign, has just gone out.
Yep.
So
we will be in touch with everybody, of course, over the next weeks and months.
Yeah, we really try to post regular updates, because we don't want anybody wondering what's going on. We want everybody to know exactly what's going on, where we are in the process, what you can expect. You know, that if you've been with us in previous campaigns, you know that you know, the whole process will let you know. We'll keep you up to date, so you know, so you'll know what's going on. Let's see.
Yeah, you know, Joseph there, he said, you know, I saw a couple of people in the group say something about they didn't think we were going to reach 600K. I remember that.
Yeah, people were doubting us. That's right. I was like, well, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. You never really know. I mean, we've done several successful Kickstarter campaigns, but the two Elder Dice campaigns that we've done were successful, and we were very happy with them. But even punching the launch button on this campaign, you really can't bank on anything. You know, it's just put the hard work in there, let people know what you're doing, and see what happens with it. And you know, I guess people like what we're doing. Let me refresh this here. It looks like we skipped over Megan. You know,
yeah, we got to scroll down.
Oh, we do have to scroll. Let's see what Megan. She's talking about. Watching the concept to prototype manufacturing and seeing the journey with the campaign. Yeah, it's a fun, you know, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. Heath and I, you know, it's a lot of work, a lot of late nights, and but you guys make it all worth it. That's for sure. I'm gonna let you read these.
Well, you know, this Aaron here was just talking about the grimoire boxes. You still got some art to do.
Yes, I still got some art to do. The grimoires are, I've got one piece that's 100% finished. I've got one piece that's about 95% finished. And I've got another piece that's more like 40% finished. So as soon as I can get, you know, we just had to get through the Kickstarter, and I can't wait to get my hands dirty, get some graphite all over them, and finish this piece so we can show it to you guys. Looking forward to it.
Eric's is talking about the Seal of Yogg-Sothoth. being so beautiful. That's my favorite set, I think, from this from the Colors Out of Space 2. So that's gonna become my go-to gaming dice.
Yeah.
When
I mean, they all turned out beautiful. I'm really happy with how that one turned out.
Oh, we have Sarah here, who is a creative writing major. So that's what I do as part of this. He's the artist, and I'm the writer. So that's kind of what I want to do as well. So I write the stories for Trinity Tree of Sorrows, and I've been writing the campaign book. Although Bill has been actually the one who's been writing the
scenario,
the scenario for the world that we've been building.
Right.
Late pledge. Congratulations.
Yeah, let's check the time.
Yep. Okay.
Don't want this passing by without us knowing. We're so close.
7:99.7.
Yeah.
16 minutes.
16 minutes. We're coming down to the wire.
Hey, Roberto.
How many people watching have backed our previous Kickstarters? I'm curious. We've had a lot of people that this is their first Kickstarter, but we've had a lot of people come back over the years, and definitely happy and excited that you're still with us.
Danny asked what we will release next. David was talking about that a few minutes ago when we first went live. The next big project that we want to do is the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows RPG, and we've been working on that for a while. And so that everybody knows that's the next project. I'm looking forward to getting back to being able to work on that.
Yeah.
But there's no timeline on that. We don't know what that's going to be yet. It's been all Elder Dice.
Yeah, we've kind of had to put it on the back burner at least during the Kickstarter launch and even the pre-launch. You know, the Elder Dice campaigns, they take a lot of time, like the photography and the design and just the strategy leading up to the campaign and everything else. I mean, it is a serious operation.
Getting in all the prototypes from the manufacturer. And David does all the photography, all the pictures of the scenes that you see on the page. David's got a photography studio. We're in his art studio right now, but there's a photography studio that he sets up actually in the basement of the main part of his house. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to do all the photography out there.
Right. We've got a backlog. We're going to speed through some of these comments. We got some people that were on a couple of
campaigns. Yes. Yeah. That was back in the day when David and I first started working together. We said,
that's right.
The Elder Dice campaign.
We need to, after we get through the comments, we should tell the story about where we were right when we launched that.
Okay. I was thinking about that this afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, Megan says that she's been watching Lovecraftian stories and stuff on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So make sure, okay, so of course, the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows site, the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows YouTube channel. If you look up Journey to the Tree of Sorrows YouTube channel.
That's the best place for it.
Right, that's the best place for any Lovecraftian stories. Right. So that's where we put all the stuff that I've been writing for Journey to the Tree of Sorrows, is the history and lore of all of that, and it's professionally narrated by Ian Gordon of Horror Babble. Yeah. Now, that's the other place you need to check out. Horror Babble is another YouTube channel that is run by Ian Gordon and Jennifer Gill, and he professionally narrates, I think, all of Lovecraft stories, really. I mean, I think all of the stories are there, and then also other classic horror chambers, and he does so much. He's got tons of stuff. So definitely go to Horror Babble as well.
Right.
And he's just amazing.
But yeah, he did the narration for the Kickstarter video for us.
Oh, yeah.
And all the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows lore videos that we've got up.
I don't think Ian had ever done a Kickstarter video for us before, but he was reading all the stories. So we said, hey, will you do our Kickstarter video too? Right. So we sent him that script.
Your voice is so much better than ours.
So that is Ian on the Kickstarter video. Wait, so people are saying 800,000.
Did we hit it? Let's see.
There we are, 800,000.
800,000.
12 minutes to go.
Yeah. 12 minutes. Thanks, everybody, for the congratulations. We appreciate it. Got a lot of people that this is their third Elder Dice campaign. Thank you again so much for being with us over the years. You guys made this happen.
Joseph says this is the second largest dice Kickstarter in the history of the platform. That would be great.
Yeah.
Oh, Roberto's got your art on his phone backgrounds.
Oh, you do? That's cool. I appreciate that. I think, Heath's got it too, I believe.
I do, yep. I've got...
well, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's one of the
Yogg all over it, but yeah, I've got Yogg is the gate.
Yeah.
On my phone.
Oh, Eric came over from the Critical Role campaign. Appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
They're killing it.
They are crushing it.
I saw that they had 60,000 backers.
Whoa.
That is amazing.
It's been a couple days since I've checked. That is
I happened to just see it today.
Oh, there's Art Dream Publishing. They are. Yeah. Hey, that's Shane.
Yeah.
That's actually another publishing company up here in Birmingham that they do the Delta Green RPG.
Right. That's a. If you're not familiar with Delta Green, I have not actually had the chance to play it. I've heard so many great things about it, and I was actually surprised to find out that Shane and Art Dream is based like a 30-minute drive from here. I was blown away because I'm a Lovecraft. I mean, obviously, I'm a Lovecraft fan. So to find that out was just it was really cool. And
we live a little bit south of Birmingham,
right,
out in the rural areas,
in the woods.
Yep. And we only live about half a mile apart. My house is about half a mile from David's art studio here.
That's right. Devin wants a surprise bonus for hitting 800,000. Are we still at 800,000? Did anybody jump ship? Let's see. You never know. Oh, we're at 801. Wow. 10 minutes to go, everybody. 10 minutes.
Well, you tell people on the Critical Role campaign that they who needed dice. Yeah,
Bring them. Appreciate that.
Kickstarter will run. Danny's asking when the cards will run. The Kickstarter system will run the cards here in 10 minutes. So they will charge the cards. We don't have any control over that. That's the Kickstarter system. So they will do that as soon as the clock hits 0 here.
Yeah. So a lot of people, especially international people, sometimes the charge will bounce because the bank or whatever might wonder what this charge is all about. You might have to contact your bank, but for the most part, it's pretty painless process.
Yeah, if something goes wrong for some reason, Kickstarter does give you a window to fix a pledge or something like that.
Right.
Well, we got 10 minutes or whatever, so you want to, or 9 minutes. You want to tell what you want to say about the original Kickstarter campaign?
Okay, so yeah, it's a funny story because we actually have the video of us punching the launch button on the very first Elder Dice campaign. But if you rewind that, that is on YouTube. If rewind that a couple of weeks, going into the first Elder Dice campaign, I mean, Heath and I were broke as a joke. I mean, we spent our last money on some ads, some Facebook ads to promote the first Elder Dice campaign. We had no clue what it was going to be. You know, we were just hoping to fund. I mean, we planned it so that if it blew up, you know, we'd be able to handle it. It's kind of like hope for the best but expect the worst type of a thing, and that's what we do with our campaigns. But yeah, it was when we pressed that launch button, we really didn't know where it was going to take us, and now here we are a couple of years later, still looking at an extremely successful campaign, and it was a lot of fun. But it was an idea. We're sitting there at Starbucks, you know, and Heath is asking. We were actually working on a different project, and it was one of those projects that was going to be a really long thing. He's like, "Is there anything smaller that we could do in the meantime?" And I was like, "Well, I've been thinking about this Lovecraftian dice thing. What do you think about that?" And then, you know, just an idea sitting there over coffee turns into, you know, I was actually telling a buddy of mine, a great friend of mine tonight. It's like it's weird how something that's small, a little idea that you've got over coffee can just totally change the direction of everything, hopefully, you know, for the better. And it's weird how the little decisions, the little thoughts like that can change so much, and it's been great.
I had been making board games, publishing board games, and also War Game Terrain with my brother. Right. And he had decided to leave the company. He didn't want to do it anymore, so he had left the company. And so I didn't have a business partner, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do alone, basically. Yeah. And then I met David basically right as that was happening, and so we had the Elder Dice idea, and he had the idea for the dice, and because I had done board game publishing before, I said, well, wait a minute, I think we can actually do that. I think we can do that.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. I mean, Kickstarter is hard. It is not easy. It is hard.
We've been sitting here. We have been glued to the keyboards for the last 72 hours. Like, nothing but at the keyboard.
My leg hurts from sitting in the chair so long.
We spent 12-hour days there, but then over the last, I wasn't even in the comment section of the Kickstarter page that much today because I was writing the updates and the emails and taking care of some Facebook group and stuff and things like that. And David was in the comments. We were a complete team.
Yeah, I know it.
Having to do
getting graphics because you never know how long it's going to take for a stretch goal to unlock, and then you got to, and then all of a sudden, you know, it speeds up and you're like, oh God, I don't have those graphics ready yet. I need to get on those, you know.
So yeah, David did all the graphics. I did all of the writing.
Yeah, he writes the words and I draw the pictures.
Did we expect it to hit 100K or 800K? Maybe.
I mean, it's like I said, hope for the best, expect the worst type of a thing. We planned it that if we just barely funded, we could handle that. We were really hoping to honestly, we were hoping that we could make it up to this level, and that's and so we planned to be able to handle that if it did indeed happen, and it has, and so we're ready. This is not a surprise. It's a pleasant surprise. I don't want to say. I mean, we sat here and said, okay, we're going to make it. No, we hope. Like when we hit that go button, we hope it'll do this well, but you never know. And I mean, if you look at our last campaigns, the first one did about 260,000, and then the next one did about 390. So
this more than double the last campaign.
Making the jump from 390 to 800,000. That's just
we had what 6,288 backers, I believe,
something
the last
like
campaign.
That. Yeah,
this one has 9,200.
So we've got over 3,000. Yeah, we've got over 3,000. We got 4 minutes left, everybody.
That's a lot of people. Thank you all for coming out here. 9,200 people.
Right. That's amazing.
4 minutes.
I've said it in the past too. One of the most awesome things about doing this has been the community that has been formed around Infinite Black and Elder Dice. We've really become friends with a lot of the people that have been with us for a while, and it's been great because that's another thing that's been happening during this Kickstarter is Heath and I can't handle this, just by ourselves, and Rhea's been helping out, and if you don't know Rhea, she's our community manager. She does a great job. But you guys have been doing a great job. I mean, so many people have been able to answer questions and help us out.
That is a huge help.
When he's writing updates and I'm making graphics, we're just we can't look at Facebook and Kickstarter comments sometimes, and you guys have been quick to be able to help people, and that's another awesome thing about our community. See there.
We're over 1 million in Canadian dollars. Okay,
great. We're Canadian millionaires. Yeah, somebody said if you hit 1 million, what will you do? I said, well, I get all 9 symbols tattooed and I'll live stream it. But then somebody screenshotted Australian dollars and said that we already hit 1 million, so I got to go do it.
Eric, it's amazing talking about people enjoying our stuff, the stuff that we've written and the stuff that we've created, because creating is one thing and it's for its own sake, but then when you have so many other people who also appreciate it, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's an amazing feeling, and I was happy to see a few weeks ago Bill Barnett, who we mentioned is writing some of the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows RPG stuff. Well, he's also done some of the writing for the GM screens.
Oh, yeah. He's been compiling a lot of stuff.
And he just happened to be out in Georgia visiting some friends and saw the GM screens in a local gaming store.
The GM screens from the second
Unspeakable Tones screen. Right. And so he saw those in the store there, and that's a great experience to not expect, to see your product in a place that you were totally not even expecting. It's a good feeling.
We got 100 seconds to go.
Oh,
counting down by seconds now.
All right.
There's Tina. Hi.
Hi, Tina.
We're counting down the seconds now. 87 seconds left.
803. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you, everybody.
Another 2 more people, I think, saying that this is their first Kickstarter, or that one of our Kickstarters was their first one.
That's awesome. Yeah, we said it at the beginning, but we try to make this a great experience. You can really follow the project all the way through from start to finish.
And hopefully, you've also found some other great Kickstarters to back too.
You hit 9,300 backers.
9,300 backers.
That's a lot of people.
Oh, we turned red on 45 seconds ago.
Red. It's getting serious. It's like it's really ending now.
I said when you get down to the minutes, the Kickstarter is getting real.
Melissa was a bit worried when Critical Role started. Yeah, we saw that, and I was like, whoa, they're really...
Maybe we get Elder Dice on Critical Role.
Yeah. Is anybody friends with them? Let's send them some Elder Dice. We got 16 seconds here. Man, this is a lot of work coming down to 9 seconds, 8 seconds.
And a lot of work for us in the future. We got to get the final files. Yeah, we got to get the final files ready. And the pledge manager.
So
that's it.
That's it.
It's in the books.
Thank you very much, everybody. Wow, that was a ton of work. Looks like we got at least one person that squeezed in.
We did have one more person squeeze in.
Oh, 3 more people.
Yep.
Okay.
9,303 backers.
Yeah.
That's the official count.
That's the official count. Man, thank you, everyone, for being awesome and helping us, for sharing the campaign with your friends and your gaming groups and in online groups and everywhere else. You know, we could not have done it without you. I can't say that enough. We appreciate each and every one of you.
We're going to celebrate tonight, but then we will start tomorrow morning with getting the pledge manager ready and all of the final files too.
I might take tomorrow afternoon off. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I do plan to sleep in a little late tomorrow. these long nights. Let's see. We're just trying to scan through here and catch back up.
There's Meredith. Thank you, Meredith.
Devin wants to DM our RPG when it's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've done a play test all the way through it.
Right.
We've done one play test all the way through. So
yeah.
I Well, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. If you guys have any questions about the process,
we'll take a few questions for a few minutes before we wrap up tonight.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just gonna go to
I need your.
Oh yeah, you need me to scroll down, don't you? See, if I have any questions there.
How long do we have to do add-ons? It will be, well, we will open the pledge manager in about 2 weeks. We get the pledge data in 2 weeks. And so it'll be a couple of days after that before the system actually goes live. Mm-hmm. And then we want everybody to come through it as quickly as possible because we need the final numbers to give to our manufacturers. So we ideally would like to be able to give final numbers to our manufacturers about how much of all this that we need to create by a week after we open. So about 3 weeks from now, we would like to be able to do that. So it'll be open technically for a little bit longer than that. But if you could come through and make the add-ons and all the selections about a week, within about a week of having to open up that system, that would be great.
Yeah, because they can't get going until they know what our quantity is.
Right. That's the big thing, because with Kickstarter, obviously, we don't know how much of each particular item to create right now because we don't know. We have to go through the pledge manager. So we've got to get the final files, like we were saying, to the manufacturer, and we will have those sitting there for them. It's a major process in and of itself, but then the manufacturer, in order to get started, needs to know how many to make.
But yeah, it will open in about 3 weeks or whatever it is. But how long will it be open after that day? We usually leave it open for several months, but we ask people to just, because sometimes people don't get the email or whatever. We want, we got to give people time. But we do ask everybody if you can do it on day one or in the first week or whatever. We would greatly appreciate it because we've got to know our quantities in order to move forward, and we're trying to move forward as quickly as possible because we want to get you guys your stuff as quickly as possible.
Eric's asked, are we selling individual dice? We sell individual dice at our convention booth, and then we're going to have some on the pledge manager.
Yeah, we're going to.
There is a lot of loose dice.
Yeah,
that's a lot. It's a logistical thing.
But we are going to. We're at the very least we're going to have D20s, but I think we're going to try to have all of them.
More. Yeah, it's a lot. But we know some people do want certain dice here and there. We don't sell them on the website.
Right.
So it's either on the pledge manager for our Kickstarter backers or at the convention booth.
Right.
Frank asks, what pledge manager are we using? We're using Pledge Manager, the brand, capital P, capital M Pledge Manager.
Yeah, we're not using BackerKit or any of those. It's actually called Pledge Manager. We've used them 2 times before. We've been very pleased with how things turned out. So.
And we've been talking to them in the last few weeks about what the campaign is, about what we need the pledge manager to be able to do. So we expect them to be able to be ready for that.
Yeah. They've actually been working on setting it up for a couple of weeks now. So,
how would you describe the roundness of the dice edges on a scale of knife's edge to like an orange? That's interesting. They're rounded. I mean, they're not round like an orange.
Yeah. So they do go through, a polishing stage where they tumble it and they polish the paint off and everything. So it's not, you know, super sharp corners.
If we posted some pictures of the dice manufacturing the last time. They come by and they paint, like put a blob of paint on all of the faces of the dice. The interesting thing that puts the color, the number, or the symbol, and so there's the excess paint on the face, and then they go through and they polish it all off.
Right.
Aaron asks, did the $99 pledge and then another $37 for 2 more sets of dice? Will that be an easy process to select which dice I want? Yes.
Yes.
You'll have one pledge that you choose, so you'll come right to the pledge manager and say, I'm at the $99 level, and then it'll give you the options, and then you'll go to the add-on page and you'll say, I want another $37 package add-on, and you'll make your selections. There is a YouTube video about how to use Pledge Manager that I made, actually the past 2 campaigns. It's specific to the last 2 campaigns, but I mean, it's the same process.
Yes. And so just to expand on that a little bit, so your pledge level is the $99 pledge level. So you'll go in and you'll select your $99 stuff, but then you'll see that you've got extra credits left over, and you'll use those extra credits to add on to add-on levels.
Joseph has a great question. Joseph right here. How do you, what elder gods called us to make them? But it also goes with, how did you come up with the ideas for the symbols for the elder designs? So we kind of collaboratively came up with what gods and what signs would be used for the campaigns. Mm-hmm. But then David actually designed the symbols. So
yeah, you know, it's a tough process. I'm not going to lie, because I've got pages and pages and pages of my sketchbook where I'll, you know, it depends on the design, but I'll sketch out a lot of different things. Like for instance, the Yog-Sothoth symbol actually resembles one of the pieces of art that I've already done called Yog-Sothoth is the gate. It's the skull with the tentacles coming out. And knowing that we were going to do Yog-Sothoth, I wanted it to resemble that, but it had to look good, and it had to be able to shrink down and be able to put that on a D20 face. And that was actually the one that took the most time, because I had to go back and forth and make sure it was going to work on a die. And I am very happy with the end result of that. But the Eye of Chaos, or the Eye of Nyarlathotep, I really enjoyed working on that, because I knew I wanted to go with an Egyptian theme, kind of play on the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus. And when I came up with that design, that's probably one of my favorite symbols that we've ended up doing for the campaign.
Yeah, so Yog-Sothoth is big in Journey to the Tree of Sorrows. We're
right.
Big fans of Yog-Sothoth anyway, so we knew that for this campaign we were going to have Yog-Sothoth, and of course it made sense to base that off of David's work of art, Yog-Sothoth is the Gate. Then we wanted, because we had the colors out of space, we wanted that theme as well. Mm-hmm. We went with Nyarlathotep.
Yeah.
And
Azathoth was actually an accident, because I'm not going to say who we were going to go with first. It was a different god. And then I was going through the sketches or whatever, and I came up with this sketch, and I was like, well, this does not fit what we were going for, but this could be Azathoth, you know, the Star of Azathoth. I really, you know, liked it. So I sent it to Heath. I was like, what do you think of this? It was just, you know, a drawing in my sketchbook.
And plus, that fits because Nyarlathotep being the son of Azathoth.
Right.
That way we had the tie-in between Nyarlathotep and Azathoth. And
Yog-Sothoth.
Well, and Yog-Sothoth, yes. But then we also have the colors, tying the colors out of space. We've associated Nyarlathotep's rise as a pharaoh in Egypt with stars falling on Egypt, right. which are itself the color that has fallen. So we've moved the color into the Nyarlathotep mythology as well. And then we posted about this, but with the Passage of the Traveler piece that David did on papyrus, which has become the playmat and also part of the slipcase. You know, the hieroglyphics you see there are real hieroglyphics that we consulted with an Egyptologist at UC Berkeley in order to do that. We put all this in the last update because I created the royal titles, the full royal titles. Egyptian pharaohs will have 5 different names. So we researched the royal titles of Egypt and what they look like, and then created the full royal titles for Nyarlathotep, and then took them to the Egyptologist at UC Berkeley, and she translated all that into hieroglyphics for us.
Yeah, I was so happy
that's on that.
I was so happy that we could do that, because, you know, we didn't want to just slap random hieroglyphics on there, you know, because I don't want to say something stupid. I mean, we wanted it to mean something.
Who knows what we'd be saying in Egyptian?
Yeah, like I like to eat hot dogs for breakfast or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, we were really happy that somebody was willing to help us, and there was a little back and forth there, and I had to make sure that I got them exactly right, you know, how they're spaced and are they stacked or side by side and all these other things. And but yeah, in the end, we're really happy with what ended up being.
And that's more information that's going to be coming out on the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows YouTube channel, because we've got a lot more history on the cartouche of Nyarlathotep, exactly how how his name and his hieroglyphics fit inside the cartouche. So there's going to be history and lore on the cartouche coming out, and we're going to get Ian Gordon to actually read it in Egyptian, because the Egyptologist actually gave us what they think is the approximation of how it would actually sound in ancient Egyptian. Isn't that cool? So we've got that, and we're going to send it over to Ian, so he's going to read that in ancient Egyptian for us.
We're actually doing that to torture you.
So there'll be that. And
how good is your Egyptian?
Your Egyptian. We asked if you want to do it. So that's going to be coming out. And then also, in that same tomb that picture comes from, there was a prayer to Nyarlathotep. It was written by the guy who died. It was his tomb. So the prayer to Nyarlathotep, that may be on Tuesday, actually, that comes out. If it's not, it's the next Tuesday. It's either this Tuesday or next. I forget how it's scheduled on YouTube. But there will be that piece, the Passage of the Traveler, will be featured in a prayer to Nyarlathotep.
And for anybody that's jumped in late, that's on the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows YouTube channel.
Right. Somebody asked, when will late pledges be open? They will be open when Pledge Manager opens, basically. So 2 weeks, essentially 2 weeks and 2 days.
2 weeks at the earliest, yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks at the earliest, but someplace in there. Email Mike. That's on Pledge Manager. On Pledge Manager, in 2 weeks, we'll send you a link. That's where you pick your dice. You can definitely put your current address now and then update it later. We leave the address up as long as it possibly can, or at least the ability to change that. So even after we lock down the ability to add on something, the ability to change your address we leave open as long as possible before we just have to export it.
And when we lock it, I mean, we will give you a lot of advance notice, like, hey, we're about to lock this thing down. If you need to make any changes, do it now, you know, because we don't want anybody to have something shipped to their old address or something like that.
Corey tweeted to Critical Role for us. Thank you. Maybe they will.
Thank you, everybody that's congratulating us on the Kickstarter.
Well, Jan is talking about like production. We have been talking to the manufacturer again for months and months and months. So they seem very confident that they're going to be able to produce all of this. We've got several different manufacturers for several different items. Some of them we're actually going to go to the manufacturing facility and look at. So
yeah, one of the problems that we ran into in the Speakable Tomes was that we made so many D6 dice that it actually caused the mold to break down. So one of the things that we did going into this campaign was make sure that all the molds were ready and could withstand the huge number, because we had a feeling that this was going to be a lot bigger, but we didn't know.
We prepared the manufacturer. We asked our manufacturers and also our shipping, because you don't ever know. Right. But any of the people who we're going to be working with were like, you know, this is what our campaigns have done in the past, but if it does more, are you going to be prepared to do it?
What steps do you need to take, and go ahead and take those steps, which we've done.
Kevin asks, what state are we from? We are from Alabama.
That's right.
We are about 30 minutes south of Birmingham. We live out in the rural area down there. How many D7 dice come to pledge? No D7s. Megan wants to see some of the sketches.
I could get the papyrus I did.
Oh, get the papyrus. Yeah, that's sitting around here.
Somebody else was asking about art, off topic.
New art. Will they be available on the IB site for purchase as signed prints? David has some of the art prints on his personal art website right now. We've taken them off of the Infinite Black website for logistical reasons and shipping reasons. But we're looking for new ways to do the prints, because we know that people want to hang up cool art, and so we're looking at that. There we go.
Let's see. So that's the original ink on papyrus.
On actual papyrus.
Let's see if I can. I don't know. Everything's backwards. So, but yeah, that's ink on papyrus. So that's one of the pieces there.
Now of course this right here is the Egyptian depiction of Yog-Sothoth.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting over here in David's art studio when he was working on that, and I was like, what are you trying to do over there? You're trying to draw Yog-Sothoth like an ancient Egyptian?
Yeah.
And David was like, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, no. How would an Egyptian draw this? It was not easy.
Let's see. Will the dice color be very close to the dice in the pictures? Yes, they will. Particularly we photographed the prototypes that we wanted in the colors that we specified from the manufacturer. So
right.
We will be producing what these prototypes were.
One thing you have to take into account are different people are watching it on different, are looking at it on different screens. Some screens are brighter, darker. You know, that does change a little bit.
What conventions will we be at? We will have. We will be at Origins. That is the next one. We are going to be at Gen Con as well. So we'll be at Origins. We'll be at Gen Con.
At Magic City Con.
We will be at Magic City Con. That's the local con here in Birmingham. So we will be at Magic City Con.
Mm-hmm.
We have applied to Dragon Con.
Yeah, we'll
but that has a waiting list, so I don't know if we'll get into that one or not. But we did apply.
We're back. Sorry, internet problems.
Well, the internet threw us off.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the
everybody.
Internet tried to end the feed, but we are back. Sorry.
A few minutes. If there were some other, we know there were some other questions that people wanted. So
yeah, I can actually.
Oh, still see them.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Hey, welcome back.
Sorry,
we got thrown off.
This is a pretty long one.
So yeah, Hayden's talking about being a big fan of both Lovecraft and D&D and finding them together. Okay. Meredith wants us to come to Australia.
Hey,
I would like
love
to come to Australia too.
That'd be great. Sorry we lost you guys. What were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about the difficulty in drawing Yog-Sothoth.
Oh yeah. In a way that Egyptians might.
Looks like an Egyptian would have had the conceptualization of Yog-Sothoth.
Yeah, it took a couple of. It took a few tries to get that down. So for anybody that didn't get it, so what to expect? Kickstarter's going to charge your cards now. There's a 2-week waiting period where, like, I'll be working on graphics. I mean, we'll be working.
I'll be working on getting the Pledge Manager.
Kickstarter doesn't give us the funds for 2 weeks, but after that 2 weeks, then we'll get the backer information. We'll send that over to Pledge Manager, and they'll get to work on that so that you guys will be able to, once everything's ready and tested, you'll be able to go to Pledge Manager. That's where you'll choose your dice sets, your play mats. You know, that's where all of the selections are made. So that'll be a big thing.
There's Dan. He just joined. He was in part of the playtest for the RPG.
That's right. Justin can't wait to make his D&D group jealous.
Here's a good question. How many drafts do you estimate you go through before you settle on final artwork?
Yeah, it really depends on the piece. I mean, sometimes I'll have a very clear picture in my head, and I'll sketch it real quick, and then after I do a sketch or two, I'm able to sit down and do the final piece. Some of them are a lot more difficult. I'll have an idea in my head, but it just doesn't look right when I draw it, and then I have to kind of just go through iteration after iteration until I finally find something that does what I want it to do, and then I'll actually go in and do the final version of it. And that's what you see. It's inside the grimoires and all that.
It's kind of the same way when I'm doing writing for the Journey stuff. Sometimes I'll sit down and I will write a piece that goes out like word for word the first time I sit down and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of other times it takes a whole lot of stuff. Actually, a lot of the times it takes a lot of research. Sometimes I just get it and it goes out. But then a lot of the stuff you may know for Journey, we do a lot of research because we go back to what Lovecraft actually wrote, right, and then also back to Chambers. Mm-hmm. So we don't follow the other authors that branched off of Lovecraft. We go back to Lovecraft's original stories, and then Journey is our own branch off of that. Yeah. So we do a lot of research to make sure that when we give history or lore or something, it is the stuff that's actually from what Lovecraft has. Now then we'll put our own stuff on top of that, mm-hmm, but we always go back to Lovecraft.
Yeah, and that's not easy because there's been so many iterations through the years that we have to check and recheck to make sure that we're doing it exactly the way Lovecraft wrote it and not some other guy that did something afterwards. And it might be in pop culture or whatever, at this point, like for instance, the Elder Sign, the Elder Sign that a lot of people are familiar with, that's not the Elder Sign. Lovecraft actually drew the Elder Sign. That's the one that looks like a branch. He did not create the star. That was actually Derelith that came after him. So, sometimes we're up against expectations where if we're staying true to Lovecraft, it's not exactly how you might picture it.
And same way with the Yellow Sign.
Yeah.
Because if you go back to Chambers, Chambers was the one who created the Yellow Sign. He was before Lovecraft,
right,
in 1895. But the story of the Yellow Sign, it never describes it. I've got a YouTube video that I'm going to shoot about this to go up to the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows YouTube channel, because you can get the description that Chambers actually has for that, but he never describes what it looks like. He only talks about what it doesn't look like nothing Chinese or
glyph,
yeah, right. It's an alien kind of glyph that is not Chinese or Arabic or something like that. So there have been a bunch of different artists who've taken a bunch of different stabs at what the Yellow Sign might look like. So we went back to Chambers,
right, and that was actually the hardest one to come up with, because there's so much. To me, there was so much expectation, like, what does the Yellow Sign look like? You know, that's, if you're going to design the Yellow Sign, there's a lot to live up to, and I'm happy with the final version.
I love
it took a lot. That's one of the ones that was just page after page after page of sketches until I found something, because I wanted it to look sinister, I wanted it to look alien, all that. So it was fun to work on, though. It was a lot of fun.
What kind of tips do I have for trying to write in a Lovecraftian campaign? Well, to me, for writing the story, it's the voice. I've tried really hard to get the right voice for the stories and stuff that we write. I know when Bill has actually been writing the campaign, the scenario, he's been guiding through the actual scenario. He works very hard at trying to capture a certain feel, and he does this. You can't. Some people think of different things as being Lovecraftian, because you can go very sci-fi and be Lovecraftian. You can do a lot of sci-fi stuff. We don't in ours. We try to go a fantasy route. So our stuff is all on the fantasy side of things. And so capturing a really dark kind of fantasy feel, also with different kinds of monsters and creatures that are described that you don't already know, but if you give these to your players and describe something really weird and really awful, that's happened quite a few times during our play tests, where you're like, okay, so what is this thing that we're looking at, and what is going on?
A mood and atmosphere are one of the biggest things for me. Like Heath was just saying that sci-fi, you can get Lovecraftian, but we don't really do the sci-fi thing. In modern day, I bring up a lot. True Detective was a very Lovecraftian, had just this mood and feel to it, but there wasn't like tentacles everywhere or anything like that. So the mood, the atmosphere is big on as far as I'm concerned.
Devin makes a great point when he's talking about that he didn't publish a lot. You're right. Actually, what you find out is that in a lot of cases, when you go back to what did actually Lovecraft say about Azathoth or
Tsathoggua,
right, and it's often almost nothing.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that you think have been added later, and so that's great for us, because then we will go back to, okay, what did Lovecraft say about this? And then we find out, okay, we've confirmed that it's almost nothing.
Yeah.
But then there's a little bit of context, or the feel of the passage or something like that, and then so we don't worry about what other people have added on to after that. We go, okay, this is something that's in Lovecraft, but there isn't a lot of information on it. Let's go back and reimagine.
But the information that is there,
we make sure we use.
Right.
And if you have one of the Lorecrafter screens, when we designed that, there are two different colors in it. And the black, anything in black ink is from Lovecraft's stuff exactly, and the stuff in purple ink is the stuff from Journey to the Tree of Sorrow. So you can even see that.
So that way, if you are using that screen, it's system neutral. So if you're using that screen in playing Call of Cthulhu or whatever your game is, you'll know, okay, I just want to stick to the black text.
Melissa makes another great point. She says she's looked at other Lovecraft stuff and going, well, this just doesn't look right. And of course, they've been interpreted in many different ways.
Right.
But one of the things that I found, especially as I was going back early on, going, okay, what does Lovecraft actually say? That you see so many depictions of everything as a tentacle blob monster of ooze.
Yeah.
Like this is some ooze with some eyeballs and some tentacles. And that's what so many things are depicted like. And so I was like, okay, does Lovecraft actually say that's what it's look like? That's what it looks like?
Yeah.
And in most cases, it is not.
No.
I mean, you have the references to tentacles and things like that, so you understand where that comes from.
I think it's lazy.
But
I mean, you think
for it to be everywhere, right? Like I love, when you look at David's Yog-Sothoth is the gate. That's a fantastic depiction of Yog-Sothoth that is not a pile of ooze with some tentacles in it. The unknown and the unknowable. That's very true. Absolutely. Well, anything else? We can wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, everybody.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
On the campaign.
Yeah, sorry for
the technical hiccup. We should probably do more of these. We try to, like, do some type of FAQ when stuff as things are developing and happening.
Yeah, we're always happy to answer questions.
Yeah, we're happy to answer questions, but we should probably do it live, let people know, like during the day or something like that, sometime, and do a live stream with Q&A and stuff. But
yeah, this has been a very successful Kickstarter. Again, we appreciate everything that you guys have done to be with us over the years, or if this is your first time, then great, welcome aboard, get ready for the ride. We are transparent in everything that's going on. We want you to understand everything that's going on, timetables, etc. And it's just interesting to watch it to grow from an idea to a physical object, and then getting that object to thousands of people around the world.
to 9,000 people's doorstep.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.